You know, all of us have got a superpower in us, regardless of who we are. Sometimes it doesn't come to the surface until something tragic happens. And that's what resilience is all about.
Johaan Kaa has faced what most of us couldn't imagine. A quad amputee with over a decade of lived experience, he's proved that adversity doesn't define you, it refines you. Through every challenge, he's found purpose, and now he's sharing that with the world. From classrooms to boardrooms, online and in person, Johaan speaks life into the next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honour to introduce a very unique guest. He's a husband, a father, a youth mentor. 27th of June 2014. This individual's life changed dramatically. After being diagnosed with a life-threatening disease, tragically resulting in him losing his hands and his feet. So hands, feet, no excuses has become his philosophy. You'll find him today in high schools, mentoring and teaching future young leaders about how to overcome adversity and being resilient. Help me welcome Johaan Kaa. Welcome, bro.
Thank you. Kia ora, kia ora.
Kia ora, bro. Welcome on board. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it, sis. First, before we get into the story, I just want to say thank you for inviting me here to Chandelier Moments. Look forward to maybe sharing a couple of stories and hopefully spark a little inspiration.
Nice.
Maybe even some laughter too, hey?
Absolutely, exactly what we're looking for. Now, your story is very unique to me. It's obvious that you've had a bit of a journey, and most people do go through challenges and trials and really testing times. You've been featured on various social media or media spaces, and I've got here on my notes that you appeared on the 9 Network, Today's Show, Sunrise, the Sunday Mail, the Courier Mail, just to name a few, and there's many more. And now you're here on this platform, Chandelier Moments podcast. It is such a joy for you to appear here, and I know this is nothing new, but it's such a great honor for me to have you here. So welcome. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Now, the 27th of June 2014, as mentioned, changed your life dramatically. Before we do dive into that story, I want you to take us back to what life was before the 27th of June 2014. What was a typical day like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks for that, sis. Look, I think if we go prior to that date, I was working in senior management role for a juice factory here in Brisbane, and they've got 2 sites, so I looked after the logistics and the dispatching of both sites. Reported to the Chief Financial Officer directly in the company. So that's where I sat on that hierarchical structure of business, and I loved the role. I only worked 4 days a week, and then it went out to 5 days a week, but I could just work half a day on the Friday.
Nice, okay.
And that was good for me because I love playing golf.
Oh, good.
And so every Friday I used to go to the driving range in the afternoon, practice the game and be up for the weekend.
Nice.
Down here at Redlands.
Okay.
So that was my day. Everything was just like, man, this is life. Coming over from New Zealand, I was in the manufacturing game over there.
Okay.
With anyone know that chocolate factory, Cadbury's?
Oh, who doesn't?
Okay, so I worked there and was one of the supervisors on the 3rd floor for the Dunedin Cadbury factory.
Nice.
So I had a leadership role there as well, looking after a huge amount of staff, 45 people I took care of there. Prior to that, I was in the game of shearing sheep for 20 odd years.
Wow.
And so that was my, that's the backstory of it.
Yeah.
So, everything was, I loved my life.
Yeah.
And what I had, and the enjoyable thing with the family, being able to take them to school, because that was one of the arrangements I had, that I needed to make sure my kids get to school, and I wanted to be a part of that.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
so I used to go to work early, break, go and drop my kids off, go back to work, pick them up in the afternoon.
Wow, it became part of the daily routine.
It was a daily routine.
Yeah. Mm. So walk us through that dreadful Friday, because it fell on Friday the 27th of June 2014. What happened? What's your story? What's the story behind that? Did you feel different? There was something off? Was there a feeling leading up to that that you noticed, oh, hold on, I don't feel right, something doesn't feel right? Or did you just ignore it and just proceed with the day?
Yeah, that's, I suppose there's a bit of a story there too, eh?
Yeah, tell us.
What I recall is going to work, but at work feeling unwell. And even though I finished my day at midday, I went and approached the CFO of the company and said, hey, look, I don't feel too good. And it's right at the end of the financial year. So we were organising things and getting things done for the new financial year. So she wanted stock takes to be done and get all of that organised. But I said, I got to go home. And this was about 10 o'clock.
In the morning?
In the morning.
Yep.
I drove myself home, but I stayed in the vehicle for a good half an hour, almost an hour, and my wife pulled up behind me in our other vehicle, and she wondered, what the heck are you doing home, you know? And she had to help me inside because I couldn't get out of the vehicle. Nothing was working. She managed to get me in there, and I just said, look, it's probably just the flu. I'm going to go to bed, have a sleep. I'll be right over the weekend.
So it was like flu-like symptoms.
It was.
So you didn't pay any attention to it? No symptoms or signs that you recognise it was off or not normal that you would not have?
And like a good woman she said, do you want me to take you to the doctor? And like the man, I thought I was the man anyway. I just said, nah, I'll be right. Just need a good sleep, good rest. I'll miss out on my golf this weekend, but 𝘾𝙘𝙖, I'll be all good.
And that was a Friday, so when did you start feeling really bad?
On the Saturday was when I fell in front of the family. So I came out of the room, I just went all unconscious and dropped in front of them. That's all I can remember, lying there, and then opened my eyes and saw the 3 kids freaking out. They were just beside themselves. And my wife come rushing over to me, and that's all I remember. Came to in moments. She was on the phone to the ambulance. I was on their stretcher. They were poking and prodding me, and then I went unconscious again. They took me to one of the local hospitals, but then they decided to bring me into Brisbane to Princess Alexandra because they didn't have the equipment out there. And so they ran more tests? Well, I don't know.
Oh, you were out completely?
Kamote, all over for me.
Oh, wow.
I was in a coma from that point on.
Right, for how long?
7 days, or almost 10 days actually. So I was in a coma for the first 48 hours. The doctors told my wife that she should prepare for my funeral.
After 10 days?
No, after the first sighting in the hospital, I was presented, and then they said to my wife, look, within 24 to 48 hours, your husband's going to die. So you need to prepare yourself and your children that he won't be around any longer.
48 hours. Did they know the diagnosis? Did they know what that you had a specific?
I wouldn't have a clue.
Oh, okay.
And
You've never been told?
No, I have been told later on of what I contracted. I was meningococcal septicemia.
Okay, so for those of us who don't know exactly what that is, do you want to give us a little bit of a brief as to what that disease is and why it was so, you know?
So your blood becomes poisoned and your body starts to shut down all its major organs so it can keep, you know, your brain functioning. But it usually shuts down the extremities first.
Okay.
And that blood loss and blood flow that was meant to go there never did. And so that's why...
You went into...
Yep.
Wow.
I went into sepsis, they call it.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
So after that, all I can remember... My wife sort of fills me in a bit here, because during that time when the doctors told her 24, 48 hours, prepare your family.
Yes.
She obviously was devastated, but she, as your wife does, she walked into the room and sat beside me, grabbed my hand. She held on to it and she said, "Where are you?" And she growled me.
While you were in the coma?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She told me off. She said, "Where are you?
Yes, yes.
You told me you were going to be here for our kids, to raise them." You know, she was really distraught at the time. Yeah. But this was something we discussed previously, of having children.
Right.
That I'd always be there.
Yes, right.
That I'd watch them go to college, get into relationships, get their hearts broken, all that stuff, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so she said to me, "Where are you?"
Okay, yeah.
And I believe there was a shift that just happened there, because from her coming in to tell me that, the doctor saying to her and the nurses said, "There's no way he'll be able to hear anything you say." And yet here I am.
So how were they able to determine that? Why did they say he's going to go in 48 hours?
Because of the shutdown my body was going through.
So they knew the disease that you had?
They knew that my body was shutting down. They didn't know what it was at the time. Right. They knew I'd gone into some form of sepsis, but there's all different ones, like pneumococcal, septicemia, and then there's what I contracted, the meningococcal.
Okay.
Like a lot of doctors, I suppose, that they keep tight-lipped until the time comes, until they're practically sure of what's going on. Okay. Yeah, between 7 to 10 days I started to come out of my coma, which was fantastic for me.
Obviously. And they weren't expecting that though, hey?
No, they weren't, but when I passed that 48-hour mark and was still kicking, so to speak, then they just monitored me from there on in the ICU unit.
Yes.
Yeah, so there was a lot of people that were praying for me.
Yes.
That were there behind the scenes that I didn't even realise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did they realise it was, you know, when did they diagnose the disease, it to be meningococcal?
Probably 8 weeks later.
Really?
Yeah.
Why weren't they able to detect it before, like earlier?
Heaps of tests. I was going in and out of consciousness quite a lot, even though I come out of my coma. There was a point there that, you know, just some of the drugs, I suppose, that I was on took me to weird places. Yeah. And I was fighting with the, what do you call them, interns that were in there? Or I don't know what they're called. The ones that rush around, orderlies, that's the word, the orderlies, to get out of my bed, but they were trying to keep me in my bed. Right. But when I finally came to enough, I tried to get out of bed, and I did, and I started pacing up and down the corridor, saying to all these guys, "Look, I can walk," but I wasn't. I was sort of just shuffling along. And
right. So you still had your hands and feet?
Still had my hands and feet.
Okay.
They had turned septic.
Yes.
They were gone all black.
Right.
And I thought I could move them and get some blood flowing back into them. Little did I know the doctors had an idea of what I had at that time.
Yep.
They were waiting for them to voluntarily fall off. That's what they told me.
And they weren't going to tell you?
They just wanted to see how things went. Because even if they did, there wouldn't be any blood squirting out or anything, right? Because it was all dead. Everything was dead. So they were just waiting for them to drop off.
So you couldn't feel anything at the time either. Were you aware of what you may have had? Did you know?
They told me 8 weeks later, once I was in there, that because I was having infections and getting worse, it was either amputate or die.
Okay.
That was, and that's when they told me I had meningococcal, and that's the reason why you're in this state.
So when you said earlier on the drugs, it may have been the drugs that took you to various places. What do you mean by that? Like frustration?
No, just hallucinations.
Okay.
You know, I thought people were out to kill my family.
Okay.
Those types of things. So really,
And you reacted?
that's why I was trying to get out of the bed to go and save my family.
Right. And they didn't know what it was that was happening?
No, they didn't know. Silly things like that. Amazing how your mind takes you to places, right?
And you didn't know either at the time?
It was real to me.
To you, yeah.
It was real to me.
What did your wife say? Her observation of that?
Her observation of
Or
it. Yeah, she was a little nervous. But like anything, you just sort of go with it, you know? Just be supportive.
Yes, she was.
I'm grateful that she is there.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So you had this meeting with the doctors and they gave you that ultimatum.
Yep.
How did you feel receiving that news?
Wasn't the best news I've ever received in my life.
Did you go there again? You know, so to speak?
Well, because of all the ice baths that they were putting me into during that 8 weeks, trying to bring my temperature down, the convulsing and the vomiting that I was experiencing during that time, I knew that it was bad.
That was a result of the disease.
Meningococcal.
Yeah. So you weren't medicated as such to try and minimise?
Yeah, they were medicating me.
Okay.
Even when I left the hospital, I was still on, 13 tablets I was taking every 4 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
However, that was the moment that I thought, oh, bugger this.
Yeah.
I'm either going to survive the amputations or not. They wanted to do piecemeal, so just do one operation at a time.
Okay.
One arm.
One arm.
One arm. Once I recover, then they'll go and do the next one. Once I recover, then they'll do the next one. Just take them.
Yeah.
So that's what I said to them. Just do the whole operation at once. Just chop them off.
All in the one operation.
And if I survived, well and good. If not,
So the chances of surviving even after the operation wasn't guaranteed.
wasn't guaranteed.
And if they done one by one, would that not spread even more on the other? Like if they had operated on one arm and the other wasn't operated on at the same moment, would not
I
would the
don't
disease
know
not? Okay.
how they would have viewed it. In their eyes, that might have been the safer option.
Right.
I just didn't want to do that.
Tell us your thoughts, your deep thoughts when you were left alone and it was night and, contemplating before the actual operation. How did you feel? What were your thoughts at that time? Other than, it wasn't good news, but deep down inside, the soul, the mind, when you really thought about this drastic change that was going to happen to your life. Because you just told us about, your daily, before the 27th, you were taking your children to school. Did you contemplate, oh damn, I'm not going to be able to do that again?
I think during that time it was, who am I? Who's going to look after the kids? What could I do? If I'm going to be without my hands and my feet, what good am I? So all of those things you think about, no doubt about it. Even after the amputations and coming out of that surgery, being put back into my room, I was drugged to bits and I was just lying there. And at this stage, my hands, after they were amputated, they were buried in my stomach for a further 7 weeks. So here I was, carried back into the room by the orderly. he put me onto the bed. I was in pain.
Yes.
But he was a big stropping young fella, and he just picked me up and boom. I thought, hey, you sure? I might need two of you.
Was he Kiwi like you? Big
No, he
Māori
wasn't.
dude?
Big Aussie boy.
Oh, yeah.
And when I come to the next day, then I asked to see what they've done. And so the nurse rolled back the blankets, and it was the first time that I saw my legs gone. And I was trying to move my arms and they were buried in my stomach.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that either.
Yeah.
So I managed to sit up and then have a look at where my legs were, and I was trying, what's wrong?
Yeah. So your sense of value, your identity as a dad, as a supervisor at work.
It meant nothing then.
Talk us through that. What?
We place so much emphasis on who we are by our job titles. That meant nothing. No. All of that stuff that I thought, you know, made me who I was. Work hard, play hard, and then you end up like that. You just go, well, what is there?
Yeah.
What is there for me to do next?
Yeah.
And that's why I said that I felt like a half a man who could love me. And during that period of time, I tried to push my wife away from me, not to visit. My kids weren't allowed to visit me.
Yeah.
So I didn't want them to see me lying there like that.
At all?
At all.
You just wanted to be left alone and they get on with their life?
I even gave my wife the opportunity to leave me.
Really?
Because that's how I felt, you know. Pointless, any of you guys staying around, hanging around for this guy that's not going to be able to provide any longer. In my mind, that was what I was thinking.
Yes.
Really shutting down upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did those thoughts come to you before the operation, or it really hit after?
Yeah, it hit home afterward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then it became real.
Yeah, yeah.
Beforehand, it was just all talk of what's going to happen.
Yes.
But now it's that, there you go.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
just like a slab of meat on a block.
Because at the time when you had to make a decision, you just thought, I want to stay alive. Just take him.
Yeah.
And then afterward, did you think, I should have just been taken? I shouldn't have just...
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Somewhat, yes.
And that's why I wanted to get rid of, and you know, the relationships, sever the relationships, make sure that there's no ties there, that they don't have any guilt or remorse, that they've made a good decision of leaving me. Those things are going through my head all the time. And I was good with it. I was good with it.
Prepared to do it on your own. Yeah.
Well, at least they wouldn't be suffering taking care of me.
But she pulled through. She continued to show.
Well, she's still with me today.
Yes, that's a good sign.
Certainly grateful for, thankful.
Yes, yes. How long was that journey? The journey of leave me alone, I don't want to be seen. Stay away, move on with your life. How?
Look, I don't know, because she didn't listen to me anyway. She kept on coming back to the hospital.
She's like, I didn't say I do just for,
So even though I didn't want her there, inside of me, I did. Of course I did. It's just fooling myself. Trying to think that would make everything better. Intellectually, it made sense.
Yes. So was it depression that you went through? Is that a form of depression? Would you call it?
Well, if you have to go to psychologists and psychiatrists, I suppose you call it that. And so the hospital provided that support for me. And it took a while to even get that thought about people going around to my home and killing the kids. And the way that she talked me through that was quite good, because she says, okay, let's just break that down. And this is just some of what she used to say to me. How many homes in your area? And I thought about it. Oh, there's quite a few. How do they know which home to come to? do you know who these people are? So she started to get me to narrow it down that, hey, I think it's just, you know, nonsense.
Yeah.
It's all in your head.
Did it take them long to convince you that it was just in your head?
Probably a couple of visits with the psychologist helped out a lot.
Yeah. Was that the turning point where you decided to, okay, I'm going to make something of my life, make the best of the situation? No? Was it back and forth, back and forth? Talk us through that.
I think it was like I said, I had the support around me. There was even people watching on that were family of other patients. My rehab, the recovery side of it, after I had come out of that 7 weeks, just imagine lying on bed for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And you couldn't look, you can look side to side, but mainly it was staring at the ceiling. And you had to stay with your thoughts.
Wow. 7 weeks straight?
7 weeks.
Why was that?
Because my hands had to heal.
Okay.
They were buried inside my stomach. They wanted the nerve endings to remain active, and that was a way to do that.
Okay.
All I could do was this, lie down.
So they wrapped you like your...
Yep.
Okay.
They wrapped me up.
Yep. 7 weeks straight?
I couldn't move. They said if you move, you might tear the stitches that we've got in your stomach, which would lead to an infection. So I had to remain still.
Okay.
When I had to go to the toilet, I used to call out to the nurse, nursey. And they wound me up on this frame.
Right.
Lifted me up on this frame. So that was how you went to the toilet.
And so they gave you bed baths as well? Wow, 7 weeks of that.
So in recovery, as I said, there was this woman, one particular lady. She watched me in the rehab, trying to get back to some sort of form. And she presented this book to me. And she had written inside of it, give me a call when you're ready.
Yeah.
You've got a story to tell.
Really? Yeah.
And I went, what? Who's this woman? And from that point forward, I gave her a ring. Probably when I got home, 171 days later, I managed to go home.
Wow.
And she wasn't the first on my list to call, my priority list, that's for real. The first was just becoming familiar with the surroundings again.
Yeah. So
Because we lost the home that we were living in.
Ah, right.
Got moved into social housing.
Yeah.
The OTs needed to check out the house first, but it was through the church that managed to get me into it because of being a New Zealander. They didn't have anything available for non-citizens.
Non-citizens at the time, yes.
At the time. Since then, obviously, I've become a citizen.
Good.
And only recently that. However, so all of that stuff, getting used to the surroundings, and just trying to focus on healing more.
So you were shut out of the world, family, friends. Was it just yourself and Pete? Was it the only support network you had? In the church? No extended families?
And it wasn't even the church that I belonged to.
Oh, really?
That's how great the community is in the Redlands.
Yeah.
They rallied. In fact, there was about 3 different churches that I went and spoke to afterward and thanked them that rallied to support the family.
Oh, wow. Because there was no income coming in, obviously.
No income. No income for all that time, so all our savings had been eaten up.
Yeah.
We weren't entitled to any benefits at the time.
And so it was the church support and community that literally, wow.
You know, you might speak badly about some people in the community, but boy, I've got nothing but respect for what they did to help me out, help my family.
How long was that? A couple of years? 18 months?
Yeah, was.
Yeah.
At least 18 months. that they came in, took over, made sure we had meals. They helped my wife out plenty.
Yeah.
Delivered food parcels, clothing.
Yeah. I bet you the word spread like wildfire and other people jumped on board.
Well, the golf club that I was with, they jumped on as well, and they put my picture up from the newspaper on the wall. So that was after I started getting out a lot more.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And
then they started, there was a lot of support that came from the golf club as well.
Oh, lovely. And then life, the new JK life, the family life started to head in a good direction.
That's where I thought, look, I'll give this woman a ring.
Yeah.
And see if there is an opportunity there, because I need to do something.
Yeah.
We need to live.
Yes, yes, yes. So tell us about that. Where did that lead to?
Well, from those small beginnings, speaking at the schools, she was the one that got me into the schools.
So that's where it started? Yeah.
I didn't know anything.
Yes.
All I knew is what she said. I've got a story, let's get it in there. The kids need to hear this.
Yeah. Were you excited about it then? Did you think, damn, this is good, this is probably something I would not have contemplated had it not been this situation?
Didn't contemplate any of it.
Yes, yeah.
I was nervous about doing it.
Yeah.
Because I was still on my wheelchair then.
Were you ready, like emotionally, psychologically?
No, probably not.
Yeah. But you stepped into it?
You just got to go.
Yeah.
That's how I feel anyway. Got to go.
Yeah.
You can't sit back and think everything's going to be handed to you forever.
Yeah.
Got to do something for yourself.
So that would have really changed your perspective of life. How do you see life now? Don't take a moment for granted. Spend as much time with family.
I know that a lot of things have happened since then. I've travelled around Australia. Haven't gone over to Western Australia yet, but I'll get there.
Right. Travelling for speaking?
Yep, really? And engaging in events. Went over to Thailand and talked over there at one of the conferences that they held over there with one of the organisations that I was with at the time.
Yes.
Some good groups that I've joined as well. So things have really picked up, and I'm really happy with where I'm going. But it wouldn't have happened if I didn't take the leap, if I didn't get this straight, get the thinking right. All the positivity in the world, though, can't get you over this, over your doorstep. That's the first one you've got to get over.
Yeah. And that was the beginning of your resilience journey, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. So I did a lot of personal development. Wanted to follow in the footsteps of a lot of people. Les Brown, he's a character that I thought I'd have a nosy at, and he's got some beautiful sayings. Tell
me a little bit about it, because you did allude to it earlier on when we had a debrief. Your interest in him.
Okay. So one of the lines that I absolutely loved from him was that he said he never wanted to be a preacher because the people that were surrounding him said, look, if you want to get your message out there, become a preacher.
And he did?
Well, no. He didn't like it.
Okay.
He didn't ever want to be a preacher, but he wanted to reach people in his own way. And he had already spoken in one of the biggest audiences ever back in the early 80s. He packed out this auditorium with hundreds of thousands of people before these people had told him, oh, you should become a preacher and you'll be able to impact millions more. But he wanted to do it his way, wanted to reach.
There were no Samoan lawyers in this industry back in the day that were doing what I'm doing, which is giving back to the Pasifika community. A lot of people see lawyers in the negative light, and my job is to change it. And how do we do that? Step by step. We build the trust in the community. And that's all I want to do, is I just want to help my people and do good things for my people. The biggest problem is that we're underrepresented. We are unaware of our rights and our entitlements. My job as a Pasifika lawyer in Queensland is to educate our people. The best part of my job is being able to see the smile on my people's faces, to be able to see them progress on and move on with their lives. We have a saying in our firm that says, you know, our job or our mission is to enrich the lives of every single one of our clients. And I believe that to be very true. The best part of my job is leaving our clients in a better position than before they met us.
Yeah, and what was his way?
His line was that he's a survivor because the story, or part of his story was he had to fight stage 4 cancer. For 39 years he fought stage 4 cancer.
39 years?
39 years. He's 80 years old just the other day.
Wow, so half his life.
Half his life. And you sort of gloss over that and go, yeah, okay, poor guy, he had cancer. Yeah. Next. You know, as we do. Yeah. Next. But when you just pull it back a bit, and you think 39 years dealing with the pain that he had to endure, and he's come out the other side of it.
Yes.
We can't even handle a 3-day-old toothache.
Yes.
But he went through 39 years of it.
Yes.
Like our tipuna, they probably tie a flax string around your tooth and on the rock, or just chuck the rock and out comes the tooth. Right?
Yes, yes.
Gets rid of the pain. We go to the dentist these days.
Yes, yes.
So knowing that background and just thinking about it a bit more deeply, I thought, yeah, he's the man. He said he's a survivor, but he's more than a survivor.
Okay, yes.
He's more than a fighter.
Yes.
He's a conqueror.
Ah, so he became one of your inspirations.
Boom.
To pull through.
But what a massive thing. He conquered.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I am too.
I was just going to say, and so do you think you have?
Yeah, I think I'm a conqueror.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason behind that is because the doctors thought I wasn't going to live. They didn't even think I was going to get up and walk. I did the Bridge to Brisbane walk here.
Yes, yes, I see so.
And so that's one of the things that I managed to do.
Yes.
Not long after coming out of the hospital, about 3-4 years after it.
Yes.
All of these things, the little steps, the progressions that you make along the way.
In the Commonwealth Games 2018, you were the baton bearer.
Yeah,
yes, tell us about that
privilege. So out of 32,000 people,
I know you were 15 on the list.
I was 15 in that area.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I think about 1,800 throughout of Australia managed to carry that baton, and I was one of them for the area I was in.
Gold Coast?
No, Redland Bay.
Redland Bay, yes.
So Redland City. So that's where they got me to carry it in Cleveland.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was shocked at that time when I received the letter and saying, you've been accepted, you know, thank you for what you do in the community.
Yes, yes.
When I was with these other, I think 18 people on the bus, and I was surrounded by legends, true legends, gold medalists.
Yes.
You know? And over here there was one that owned 35 gyms around Australia. And then this lady over here, she spent 25 years as a lifesaver. Wow. And I thought, I'm a fake, what am I doing on the bus?
But you're in amongst them.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
That was huge.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
That was huge.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's just, it's not until you can look back,
reflect,
to join the dots and see where you've been.
Yes.
It might be a straight line, but you can go, oh, okay, there's a point in my life that changed.
Yes.
That I was able to make some good from that. People have started to see me doing stuff in the community.
Yes.
The local council, they recognise it, and that's why they put my name forward.
Wow.
Because of the work I was doing with youth.
Yes. Yes.
Not only there, but here in Brisbane, got presented the Brisbane City flag.
Wow.
One of two of the Pacifica brothers that received that. One, he headed up an organisation, a charity group, and then me. who just went out and encouraged kids. So I've got that at home as well.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Those are just some of the good things that's come out of some of the trauma that's been in the past.
It's really nice to hear, you know, that you've gone to various places, you've been able to engage speaking events, and the journey was good moving forward after this change. Were there moments where you would take 5 steps forward and 10 steps back? Would your mindset go back to that day? Would you have moments where
you know how you play the game of Monopoly? And you go past go, and over here on this side of the board is that thing with the bars on it, the jail? Well, I was just visiting.
Okay, so you'd go there from time to time.
I'd have those moments, but that's all they were, because I wouldn't let myself be trapped or go in there where my whanaunga are.
So how would you deal? Did you let them out while you were there?
Oh, funny.
So how would you get yourself out of there? Because you say, I would only visit. What was the light bulb moment for you to come out of there quickly, not to stay there any longer than you should?
Yeah, it's the awareness of what you've actually put in the work to get you to where you are. And so it's a continual reminders. Whether it's a habit, people consider them as habits. You form that goal in your head that you're going to do something, and you manage to achieve that, and the reward is that it becomes second nature. At times when I did fall back into some bad habits of thinking, I wouldn't stay there long. It got shorter and shorter and shorter. Because I was able to recognize, oops, what's going on? There's something happening to me. I'm taking it out on the family. It's just not what I want. Okay, what do I need to do? Kind thoughts, kind words, kind deeds.
Your relationship with Pip, when you would visit the jail, were there moments where she'd, express like, I'm done, I've done this for you, you're having a moment, do I have to put up with this?
Maybe you need to ask her that question.
I want to hear it from you. I will. Were there moments?
I've never seen her not want to be with me.
Oh.
You're crazy, eh? All through that I said to her, that better for worse and sickness and in health, that's all rubbish.
Really?
You don't need to listen to that.
So all your beliefs, morals out the window?
Gone.
And she had to build it up, rebuild it?
That's how I felt.
Wow.
That oath that we took with each other, it was good while I was an able-bodied person.
Yes.
Now that I wasn't, those don't really mean anything. But to her, it meant the world.
Her love grew stronger by the sounds, if anything.
Well, I hope so. And I hope that I've proved, worthy of her love and support.
Oh, she's here with you today,
I'm so grateful, that's for sure.
I love it. And how did you view yourself as a dad during that journey?
A dad.
Because I read somewhere that if there was one thing that you wanted to achieve by getting that bionic arm that you were talking about before, was to hold your daughter's hand or your child's hand one more time. Talk us through that.
In our culture, right? It's all embracing and awhi each other. And that happens within the family too, more so. And I was always that, come here, give me a cuddle, Even though I could, it was different now. I remember my youngest daughter being scared of me. And that really impacted how I felt about myself. And I don't blame her. Her dad was different.
Yes. Did it make you feel like less than a dad because it felt incomplete to have the embrace? You felt a disconnect? He wasn't 100%?
Yeah, always was a disconnect in that area after the hospital.
Yes.
And getting through that period of recovery, because you know the body can heal, but the mind takes a long time.
Yeah.
And so that did. Boys, that you know, they were kids and they just jumped into bed with me or lie on the floor with me as I was trying to crawl along the floor to get to different places.
Yes.
Yeah, they were brilliant. So they always like, oh well, it might be different, but you're still our dad.
Yeah, and they adjusted. And everyone else adjusted. Yeah, yeah.
It took a while for me to make the adjustment.
Yeah, they were waiting for Dad to catch up.
They knew where they were going.
Did you feel like you were dragging them behind whilst you were going through that mental transition?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question, because you feel like you're like a millstone and you should just be thrown into the ocean, right? Because you're a weight around their neck. That's how I thought.
Yes.
Once again, it goes back to your thinking.
Yes.
And so I had to get rid of those thoughts.
Yeah, train the mind.
Yeah,
You had to reset the mind.
Yeah, reset the mind, know that, hey, that's not true, what you're saying about yourself.
Yes.
It's not true what you're saying about the family.
Yes. And so how would you go about doing that? Training the mind, other than surrounding yourself, like your support network with your wife, your family, that environment. What else did you implement to be able to, you know, like grow that mind, strengthen it, to move forward and not to...
You know, all of us have got a superpower in us, regardless of who we are. And sometimes it doesn't come to the surface until something tragic happens.
Yes, yes.
And I believe each and every one of us has that ability to bounce back.
Yeah.
And that's what resilience is all about.
I love it.
Is bouncing back
Yeah.
from whatever set back. It becomes a setup for your next move forward.
Yes.
And so what did I do? I don't think I did anything different to anyone else. I'm not an extraordinary person. You know, I'm an ordinary bloke just trying to do things the best I can each and every day.
Yes.
And to do it the best way that I know how.
Yes.
Yes, there are strategies and there's little frameworks that I've worked on in order to get me to where I am. And that's what I share with my audiences, both the youth and adults as well. So it's the reset, the three things: the reset your mind, reveal that superpower. What is it?
Yes.
It might be for you that you're an optimistic encourager.
Yes.
You know, and so you go out of your way to say hi to somebody.
Yes.
It might be something totally different. You got to figure it out.
Yes.
And then to reward yourself every step of the way, whatever little goals and that you've accomplished, reward yourself.
Nice.
Make sure that you
Celebrate
celebrate
every milestone.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You
absolutely.
just got to do it.
Yeah. So your speaking engagements in the high schools, training and mentoring, like have there been specific young people that have come to you that you've worked closely with where they've moved forward because of...
So most of the time, what can you do in an hour with anyone?
Yes.
There's been on numerous occasions, kids have come up to me crying because of what I was able to help them realize and see. I've had handwritten notes passed to me as I'm jumping into my van.
Wow.
They're running out to the van. Now these are 15, 16-year-olds that are doing that. On many occasions, they've asked me, you know, how can you stay so positive?
Okay, cool. Yes, yeah.
As I tell them what I've gone through.
Yeah.
And I give them the same answer, it's nothing different. You know, you just got to work on yourself.
Yeah.
Your thinking.
Yes, yeah.
You can either think positive or negative.
Yes.
You can't think both at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's, which one do you want in your head?
Yeah.
And then I asked him, if you had a good friend that walked around behind you every day and was going, oh, you're useless, you're a loser, nobody likes you, how long would they be your friend for?
Yes.
And yet that's what we continually say to ourselves each day. My work, those guys at work, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yes, yes.
You know, all those sort of things. Whatever negative thought comes in, you can replace it with something positive.
Yes.
Or maybe they're going through a tough day.
Uh-huh.
I'll give some allowance there. Grace.
Yes, grace.
Somebody else gave me grace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The workplaces, your colleagues, had they reached out to you during that process? Are you guys connected? Or they were just totally just there and you're now here?
I think it's like anything, when you leave a role, well, then you really don't expect too many people to come back and, you know, be that type of mate anymore. Because you're leading different life, right? There has been one person that stuck with me here. He continually gives me a call. And
Nice, nice.
yeah, so that's been quite good.
Yeah,
But I don't blame them.
yeah.
Everybody moves on.
Yes.
It's just like if somebody took over the role, the job, well, then the group here,
Just, yeah, gravitates.
you become that group.
Yeah. I asked that question because you said you know, sat in leadership roles. You know what I mean? So you had people working under you, there would have been a rapport, and would they have been there as a support network, you know, that type of thing? But yeah, as you said, that's probably...
I don't expect them to come around every day and you know, have a beer or something with me, that sort of thing. It would just be awkward. Awkward.
Just clock on and clock off.
Yeah. You know, I was there as a representative for the company. You know, now I'm no longer part of that company.
Yeah, true, true. When you reflect your journey from the 27th till now, how do you see resilience as opposed to before the incident?
Huge part of my life.
Yep.
It's got to be.
Yes.
Otherwise I would have, and people say you have every right to feel that way, of just curling up in a fetal position and waiting till the moment happens.
Yes. No.
Yeah, that's not me.
No, it's not an option. No.
You can visit, like I said, but don't stay there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Would you change what happened to you? If you could rewind back time, would you undo the 27th till now?
Was one of the questions you were going to raise, what would I say to my younger self? Or is that coming up?
That's coming up.
Would I change?
Yes.
I would like to have...
Would you undo this experience, basically, is what I'm asking.
Okay. Well, that's an easy question. No.
Yeah? No?
No.
Why?
Because of the experiences I've had since then, I would never have had them if I had my hands and my feet. Because I travelled in different circles. You know, now, doesn't matter who I meet, whether it be Hollywood movie stars, which I have, and you know, mayors or people that run the country. They're just another person, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And, but before I wouldn't have even been able to get to meet them.
Yes.
I'd watch everybody else from my safety position.
Yes, yes.
So now I wouldn't change anything.
Nice, because it's allowed you to step out of your comfort zone, like, you know, even to show, you know what I mean, to allow people to see you for who you are now.
It might take me longer to do, or it takes me longer to do a lot of things.
Yeah,
But I know that I can get there in the end and do what I want to do.
You wouldn't want to change it at all. Nice.
You know, for me, recognising I was still here and I still had a purpose,
Nice.
that was the reset. The reveal was the inner strength, as I said before. Everybody's got them.
Yes.
You might be a problem solver of some sort.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
Until you have got to show that part of you.
And you have everywhere.
And that celebration is always a factor. You got to celebrate.
The milestones and the achievements.
Yep, definitely.
Yes.
It's like you're climbing Mount Everest
Yes, yes.
or Mount Cook. Yay!
Celebrate! Mountaintop experience after the valley, hey? The drenches in the valley.
Yep.
So yeah, it sounds like you've had many mountaintop experiences, and you've moved mountains for a lot of people that you go into when you go into these spaces such as the schools. You would leave a huge impression.
Well, thank you.
Empowering.
I believe I do.
Yeah. Well, yes.
And to anyone listening, your audience here, if you ever feel pinned down because of your circumstances, life's given you a knock, a punch maybe like David Tua, and you're on the canvas, it might take you a while to get back up.
Yes.
Probably with one of his you would, but get back up.
Get back up.
Get back up. You don't see anybody who slips on the ground and falls over and stay there.
Yeah, that's right.
They quickly get up, brush themselves off and carry on, looking around to see if anybody saw you.
And soldier on.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what I thought I'd share.
I love it. I love it. All right, we're going to go to the quick round questions that we discussed before. So, what's one thing that everyone should start doing to join and support your journey? So,
I've just started a new Facebook page called Johaan Kaa .official.
yes.
Okay, and
Take note, everybody.
That's going to be
When is that published?
probably within the next couple of weeks.
Wonderful.
We'll get that up and running.
Yes.
Because I didn't want it to encroach upon my personal page with Facebook. Everybody's got a Facebook page, and so it's easier to head them that way.
Yes.
Well, what I do, so I can preach to everybody there, okay, on that page about the speaking, what I do there, how I do encourage, what's my frameworks, and just talk.
Love
Just quote it all.
Love it. So you're currently in the high school education space only, or do you also do motivational speaking in other spaces, corporate?
Yeah, so I've done a few corporates, not as many as I've done in the schools, that's for sure. So school has been a forte for a number of years now.
Nice.
And sharing a positive message with them. Because let's face it, our kids, they need all the help they can get these days. There's a difference
Yes.
to when I grew up to what our kids are going through today.
A lot of social issues. Media contributes to that. There's a huge influencing.
And I've got to stop myself sometimes thinking, ow, what's wrong with you kids,
Old school mindset.
And so you've got to put that down and then talk them through it.
Yes.
Right? Allow them to have their feelings and emotions, regardless of if you think otherwise.
Yeah.
That's not how I used to do it back in the day, but hey, kids, boy, this is new generation. And you've got to make allowances for that.
Yeah. Through your Johaan official, the motivational speaking, social issues with young people, whilst we're on that topic, mental health. Do you tailor your speaking, what you do with motivational speaking to that? Have you recognized or identified whether there's a rise in it at this age? Is that why you're interested in this age group, the school system? Because I believe that it's a good age to target. It might minimize, any impact in adulthood, right? Yeah.
They might look it.
Yeah.
And that's how I view them. It mightn't be today. It might be in a couple of years' time. But maybe 10 years' time, you'll remember something that I said that will go, oh, he talked about the circle of influence and what I can control, what I can't.
Nice.
Why am I worrying about what I can't control?
Yes.
Let's look at the things that I can control, and it starts from within.
Love it.
That sort of thing.
So planting the seed
Plant the seed.
Through their experiences of life, it's fertilized and cultivated, yeah? Yes, yes. I love that.
And for a lot of the young people now, there are a lot of things going on with their mental health.
Yes.
That has led to a lot of craziness in their life.
Yeah.
A lot of kids that I've spoken with, I talk with a lot of disengaged groups. But I try to make light of it, okay? And sometimes I just open up with, you think you've got the first world problem.
And then they look at you.
And then, oh.
Has anybody come back with feedback like that? Oh, I thought I was, and I'm just being drama, or, you know what I mean?
One of the letters that were written to me, she says just the impact that you have of your presence made me aware that I need to get out of my shell, come out of my shell. This is from a 17-year-old girl.
Wow.
Not only with the school, but with her parents. Isn't it right that they shut down, kids shut down with their parents? You don't know nothing.
Yes.
But when they hear the same thing from someone else over here,
they click.
Oh, I learnt this awesome thing, Mum and Dad. And they're pulling their hair out.
So you've helped a lot of families.
Well, I know,
that
I've had a small part to play in what will be their life.
Yes, yes, you've planted that seed of hope and redirected it for the better. Yes.
I was helpless.
Yeah.
Now I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Hopeful for a better future for our kids, particularly. And that translates into other areas, doesn't it?
Yes.
With business, with our finances. Not only that, but spiritually. When we start looking at it from that point of view, even the good book tells us to, transform the mind, make it over. Fantastic's that book. A book of psychology that people don't even realise is there to read, to pick up and have a look at, to see where it can guide you, to guide our steps, to help us along the way.
Well done. I love it. I love it. So the people can follow your social media.
So go there.
Yep.
And that'll point them to probably johaankaa.com.
Yes, okay.
So that's my website that I've had up now, built by myself.
Nice.
So I built it from the ground. I love tinkering around.
Yes, I've noticed.
Things and
I'm following you. I'm stalking you.
I've graduated with AI prompting, so I love that type of stuff as well.
Yes.
A few other things that I'm learning currently is the coding and knowing how to code. Using all these various apps that are out there to help my life a bit easier, make it simpler.
Yes. Well, everything is online nowadays, isn't it? So we harness and take advantage of it. Yeah, but look at everything that you've learnt, technology side of things.
Yeah, so technology is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So it's johaankaa.official. Is it just on Facebook? Is there a handle on Instagram? That
there is.
Yes.
There's.
Is it that one? The same one?
Yeah, you'll find me with that name. Not many Johaan Kaas about.
Yeah. Dot official?
No, not dot official.
Yeah.
You'll find me there, and I've got a handle for the YouTube. I've got a handle on a few of the socials.
Oh, great.
So I'll pass them along later.
And we'll drop all that information in the comments below, so be sure to follow Johaan. One last question. What's one advice that you would give your younger self?
This is the one I was waiting for.
I know you were, that's why I left it till last.
I would tell my younger self in 2014 of June, the last week of June, go on a holiday.
Don't go to work.
Don't go to work. Take 2 weeks off, one on either side of June. Yeah. So that's what I tell my younger self.
Yes, yes. But regardless, you wouldn't do it any other way.
It just shows you that there's no crystal ball.
Yes.
We can't think that we know the future or what it holds. We can only do what we do when we get there.
Yeah, yeah. And don't become complacent with life. Value every moment.
Every moment.
Every moment.
Every moment, sis.
Thank you so much, Johaan, for coming on the show, sharing your story. No doubt a lot of young people and people in general, our communities, have been empowered, inspired by your story of resilience. Thank you so much.
Kia ora,
We
tēnā
look forward
koutou.
to following your journey.
Awesome.
Thank you.